Good day, everyone. I'm Judel Navarro, and as part of my requirement in Corporate Social Responsibility course, I will present Module 3, CSR as a legal and societal obligation. And so in this report, I aim to answer the central question, why is it necessary for companies to implement CSR programs? I will try my best also to connect this discussion to my own institution, Hope Christian High School. I'm part of an IB or International Baccalaureate school. This is an IB World School, which currently does not have a formal CSR or university social responsibility framework. And I will also propose recommendations moving forward. Now, the overview of my discussions are as follows. The definition of CSR, CSR in the Philippines, its legal obligation, as well as its societal obligation, application to my school where I work, to Hope Christian High School, and recommendations. Now, what is CSR? Corporate social responsibility refers to a company's commitment to operate ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of employees, their families, and the wider community. It is ethical business conduct. It is also beyond profit. According to CSR Philippines Economy paper, the one that we studied, or part of the material part of this module, CSR in the Philippines began as philanthropy but has evolved in corporate citizenship, meaning businesses are now expected to actively participate in nation building. Meanwhile, the legal framework study emphasizes that CSR in developing countries operates within a complex system of legal, ethical, and governance expectations. So CSR has something to do with social, environmental, and even economic responsibility. These tell us that CSR is no longer just, a charity. It is part of a responsible management and leadership as well. Now, let's talk about the evolution of CSR in the Philippines. CSR in the Philippines evolved in different stages. According to APEC CSR report, the 1960s were called the decades of the nations. Why is it decades of the nations? These were companies simply gave financial assistance to different sectors. Now, in the 1970s, CSR organizations like the BPSP were established. Moving forward in the 1980s, companies focused on the community relations or COMREL. In the 1990s, moving forward, the corporate citizenship became institutionalized. Now, by the 2000s, CSR became integrated into management systems. This evolution actually shows that CSR shifted from optional giving to strategic responsibility. Now, let's talk about CSR as a legal obligation. One major reason CSR is necessary is because it is connected to regulations and law. The APEC paper explains that regulation is one of the main external drivers of CSR. If regulation is the main driver, companies will comply only up to the minimum requirement, such as, paying correct wages and even taxes. However, we have to take into consideration as well the compliance with labor and environmental standards. The legal framework analysis highlights that developing countries are strengthening CSR governance to promote ethical business behavior. Therefore, CSR protects companies legally. It reduces risks, ensures compliance, and promotes accountability. There has to be a governance accountability because ignoring CSR can lead to legal penalties, reputational damage, and even loss of public trust. Now, how about CSR as societal obligation? You have to consider that CSR is not only legal, it is societal. The Social Weather Station survey cited in the APEC report found that Filipinos believe corporations have obligations toward employees, the environment, and even in the communities. There are public expectations. The public expects companies to, number one, increase wages fairly. Number two is to protect the environment. Number three is to send volunteers. And lastly, to support education. This reflects the Filipino values of bayanihan and shared responsibilities. There has to be a bayanihan, there has to be a community welfare. Businesses operates within society. Therefore, they must contribute to society. We have to take into consideration that CSR maintains social legitimacy. Without public trust, no company can sustain its operations. Now, CSR as strategic sustainability. CSR is necessary because it strengthens long-term sustainability. The BPSP guide cited in the APEC paper explains that CSR enhances corporate reputation, increases employee loyalty, improves stakeholder relationships, and even ensures business sustainability. Similarly, the legal framework study discusses the financial rewards of CSR engagement. We have to remember that CSR is not anti-profit. It actually aligns to profitability with responsibility. It allows, companies to do good while doing well. In today's competitive global environment, responsible companies gain of course a long-term advantage. Now, we have to consider as well that there are challenges in developing countries. There are challenges in developing countries. However, CSR implementation is not easy. It's not been easy in a lot of developing countries. The legal framework study identifies several challenges. Number one would be the economic constraints. It actually limit investments capacity. There is also a weak enforcement. It reduces accountability. There is a cultural diversity or complexity wherein it complicates the implementation. And there is a governance issues that create inconsistencies. These challenges actually strengthen the argument for structured CSR policies. As we all know, without structure, CSR became sporadic and seasonal instead of strategic and sustainable. It is actually a big challenge in a lot of developing countries.